Hi, welcome guys. So in this video that we are gonna start to introduce the isomorphism theorem. Well, I think this is quite important that in group theory, in finite group theory, if you really want to learn something, that you have to learn the isomorphism theorem, and you know how to prove it and understand all its detail, so that you make sure you really understand something and you can do some calculation. Okay, and there are like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 isomorphism theorems, but in this video we do the simplest one. Basically, it's the first isomorphism theorem. Okay, so let me just write down the setting. Right, so setting is that if you have G and G prime, F is a group homomorphism. And let's say the kernel F is denoted by H. Okay, and the statements. So the statement is the following. So we already know that there is a canonical map, right, from quotient, so G quotient H, because the kernel F is a normal subgroup. Okay, properties need to prove. So kernel F. Okay, so maybe just let me write down a statement. The first one is that the kernel F is normal. So there is a canonical map, right, as we did the quotient group G map to G quotient H. And the second one is there is this F star, which is unique group homomorphism from G quotient H to G prime. So here, such that this diagram commutes, meaning that meaning that if I apply F, then it's the same as doing this canonical this quotient map and then map back to G prime. Okay, such that the diagram commutes. Okay, so basically, yeah, and then there is a third one, which is the isomorphism theorem, say that if F star induce an isomorphism from G quotient H, so kernel F, which is isomorphic to image F, meaning that this F star indeed here is an isomorphism between G quotient H as a group and the image F as a subgroup. Okay, so this means that whenever you can construct group homomorphism from any two groups, then you can immediately use this. You can immediately construct the map between you can immediately have the non-trivial quotient, non-trivial isomorphism between G quotient H and this image. Okay, proof. So the first one is simple, right? We just need to prove that the kernel is normal. Okay, so recall that normal is the same as H equals Hx. This is equivalent to S inverse is the same as H. Right, so if I want to prove kernel is normal, I want to prove that XH inverse is still kernel, right? Still in H, which is kernel F. So it's simple that I just compute FXH X inverse. I know it's Fx, Fh, and Fx inverse. But every f of h mapped to identity, right? So it's f x e x inverse, which is just fxe, ffe, which is e. So identity. So this shows that xh x inverse is indeed the subset of kernel, right? So it's indeed this. Okay, and second one, which is unique group homomorphism, the diagram commutes. This one is somehow much more complicated. But so the first time you see this will be very difficult. Well, you will see very weird, but you should just spend some time to think about it, and you will find this is almost a tautological proof. So if I start with G here, then this canonical map is GH, right? GH, and this is F. So obviously this F star is very simple to define. I define F star GH to be just FG. Fg. So obviously that if I define this, then diagram commutes, right? Because G goes to GH, and it maps to Fg, right? So this is my definition. But to make sure this is really true, but not just something tautological, I need to first show that F star is well defined. Okay. So to show it's well defined, I need to show that if different G and G prime map to G prime H, if they map the same here, then they should. If G and G prime they are the same here, then they should output the same Fg. So let me write it as mathematical, just G prime H. If G prime H equals to GH, then Fg should equals Fg prime. Right? This makes F star well defined. But this is trivial because the left hand side condition is exactly G inverse G prime H equals to H. But this shows that G inverse G prime belongs to H. Right? But this is kernel. So it means that F G inverse G prime is identity. So Fg inverse equals to it's Fg inverse Fg prime equals identity. So Fg prime equals to Fg. Okay, so remember you use the property of group homomorphism. So this finishes the proof. Okay, so now the second one is to prove that F star is the group homomorphism. Okay, so for this one, let's see. So we just compute F star G H and G prime H, right? This is the group operation in the quotient group. So this is F star G prime H by definition, and it maps to G prime H. Sorry, map to the F G prime, right? But F is a group homomorphism, so it's Fg prime. So it's F star GH and F star GH prime. So this finishes the proof, right? This is the group homomorphism. Okay, so finally we are able to show that F star is an induced isomorphism. Okay, so to do this, first notice the following. Notice that if I see this F star right here, G to something, right, is G prime, quotient H. So this F star map, first is injective. Okay, the reason is that let's compute, right? So injective meaning that kernel of F star is trivial. But in this sense, it's the same as kernel F star is H, because H is the identity in the quotient space. But this is definition, because the F star of GH is exactly Fg. So if you map to identity, then if this is identity, then G belongs to kernel F is in the H, then GH will become H. So this is trivial. Okay. So injective. Now I can restrict. So I know the image of F is subgroup, right? So if I restrict, if I just make the right hand side to be F star map to G quotient H to image of F. So this is a subgroup of G prime, right? And then it will become surjective, because by definition the image is the target which you can map to. So this becomes surjective. So combine everything, F star is injective, surjective, and also a group home. So it's isomorphism. Okay, so there is it. So F star induce isomorphism from G quotient H, which is isomorphic to image F. Okay, so this is the proof of this famous first isomorphism theorem. And basically, you can use a lot of there will be tons of thousands of examples that you can use. So I don't want to show any example, but you can check the textbook. There should be various examples that I mean, I should be able to come up with some example, but yeah, I didn't come. Yeah, so see you in the next videos. So next video we will talk about third and second isomorphism theorem that will be somehow more difficult to prove, but the idea is the same. So I suggest that everyone, if you are interested, you should go through this proof step by step and make sure you understand everything. Yeah, basically these are just tautological, so hopefully you can understand it.